Hello. As we can see, I am home. I'm home, back in Los Angeles, California, sunny Los Angeles. We are here. I have been here for a week. It's Wednesday, and I got here last Wednesday, and I don't think, I haven't uploaded anything since I've been home. Holy shit, do I have a lot to talk about. Oh my gosh. So I knew I wanted to make a video about my trip and just about everything and just about, I mean, I know I did a ton of story times and stuff, but I mean more about, I had like 20 epiphanies while I was on my trip and then like 20 more when I came back. So I wanted to talk about that and just how I've been feeling recently, how this trip literally changed my life. Like truly, it's been a game changer. And we're just gonna talk like we're on FaceTime. If this is your first time seeing me, hello, my name is Noelle. I was living in Europe for the last 2 months and I just came back. If you've seen my other YouTube videos, I do have a video up saying that I'm moving to Europe for 5 months, and that was originally the plan. I was gonna go to Europe for 5 months, but then right before I left, I realized that number one, I just didn't have enough money for 5 months. Like I could have made it work for 5 months with the money I had saved, but I would have been budgeting way too much and I just don't think I would have had as much fun. Number two, I think it just didn't really end up working out with where I was gonna stay and, you know, everything like that. So I ended up staying for 2 months and it actually ended up being the perfect amount of time. By the time that it was time to go home, I was ready to go home. Not that I didn't have a great time, but I just, you know, 2 months is a long ass time and I didn't realize how long it would be, but it's a long time. And yes, it went by fast, but at the same time, like I think if I would have stayed for 5 months, I would have just really been missing home. And especially I had never been out of the country before this trip. I had never even been on a trip like that away from, you know, family or away from my parents for that long. So I think 5 months just would have been a bit too much for me. Yeah, I grew so much on this trip. This was one of the best, probably the best decision I've ever made in my life was to go on this trip. I kind of want to get into how I made this decision. I think a big reason why I wanted to do this trip was just because my energy and just everything about me being here felt very stagnant. I didn't feel like I was really moving anywhere. I kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't really feel like I was truly actually being myself. You know, like I didn't feel like I was really being the me that I want to be. However cliche that sounds, it's true. I just didn't feel like I was really being me and I didn't know how, and I just felt like the only way I'm gonna really figure out how to be me and who I am is by leaving the place I grew up. And I think that's so important. Like I think in your 20s, especially early 20s, I think it's so important to leave the place that you grew up in, even if it is just for a couple months. I think that's really important in finding yourself and finding who you are and how you want to proceed with your life. So that was a big reason why I left, and it worked. It definitely worked. I came back and I don't feel, oh gosh, I feel so much different than I felt when I left. Like truly, I feel like a different person. It's crazy. I think that was really it, honestly. And then also I just felt really urged to do it. Like when I would think about this trip and leaving the country for a couple months, and it felt right. Like, I don't know, like my intuition, my body, like everything was just telling me like, this is what you need to do. Like, this is what you need to move forward. Like, that's just the feeling I was getting. I don't know. That's just me. It was truly in my like heart and in my soul. It felt like a decision that I was being pushed towards so heavily. And it turns out that that was the absolute right thing for me. The trip itself was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, obviously I learned so much about myself and about the world. It was uncomfortable too. I think because I was growing so much. Every single day I was growing and I was becoming more and more me, but growth is uncomfortable, and it was uncomfortable in a lot of moments, and I felt like I'm not used to this, and you know that can be uncomfortable, but I think it was also beautiful. Corny. I think it was so much growth, and I think it was proof that I was growing, because you have to feel uncomfortable to grow. If you don't feel uncomfortable, you're not growing. If you feel comfortable and you feel safe, and safe in the sense of like, you know, not in the sense of like you're not in danger, but safe in the sense of like you're comfortable, you feel like you're doing things that you're used to doing. I think if you feel like that, you're not growing. And I didn't feel like that. And so I was definitely growing, and I definitely grew. Of course, just being there was an insane culture shock. I've only all my life been around people that speak English, so the language barrier was a huge thing for me. You know, I love to talk to people. I love to interact, and I love asking people just how was your day, and just asking someone how was your day, that was hard. It's like simple tasks that I take for granted every day, that I do every single day, was actually something that I had to think about. That was really hard. You know, of course, by the end of the trip, I was mainly in Italy, and so I did pick up a little bit of Italian, but that was after 2 months. Just having to, because, you know, being in LA, I pretty much know, I don't have to look at the weather every day, for example, because I've lived here all my life. I kind of know what the weather is going to be. I can kind of look outside and see. I know where things are. You know, I know where my closest grocery store is. You know, I know where the nearest pharmacy is. I know where the nearest urgent care is. But obviously, being in a place I've never been, especially a foreign country, I had no idea where anything is. So I have to look every single thing up, and it's different, you know? They don't have things out there, and of course, in the same way they have out here. So it's like, okay, now I have to add all these things that I take for granted and that I just do every day and I don't even think twice about. Now I have to actually think twice about them. And of course, being there for 2 months, I eventually figured out, you know, where the nearest grocery store is, nearest pharmacy, etc. But those are things that I had to get used to. And then, you know, another thing, like products that they sell here, you know, some of them they just don't even sell in Europe. Others are way more expensive. For example, I use this Aveeno lotion that I get from here from Target. It's like, if I get like the travel size one, it's like $3, $4. There, the travel size one was like 20 bucks. And I didn't even know that. I had no idea. They sell other things, and it's just, it's different. It was so different for me. So many things were just shocking to me, and it was really weird. All those things, having to do things that I'm never used to doing, that I just kind of here, I just do. And then there, having to think about these things was so different. And I think that was something that really was hard for me to adjust to. Another thing that I literally had never experienced was jet lag. Holy shit, jet lag fucking sucks. If you're watching this, and obviously you've experienced it, I'm sure you know, but I was like, what the fuck is, like, why am I feeling so shitty? I think something that was really beautiful during the trip is that I met so many people who were also traveling, and who were, you know, I met a lot of other Americans. I also met a lot of Canadians. I met some Australians. I met people from literally all over the world that you just don't see here. I mean, I don't go into clubs here or bars here and meet people who are from Australia and Canada and all these different places that you just don't see that. But when you're in, you know, a city in Italy, for example, when we went to Florence, oh my gosh, I met so many people from so many different places, and a lot of them spoke English, and it was so fun. And I just got to meet all these people who were also just traveling and just, you know, living their life, and for all different reasons, you know, and just doing their thing. And some were my age, some were a lot older. It was amazing just meeting all these different people who, you know, were in a sense doing the same thing I was, just for different reasons. And that was really fun to see. I got a lot of these people's, you know, Instagrams and stuff, and I think it's really cool that now I can keep up with them. And I think just seeing how different people are in other countries or in other places in general, it's just it's something you have to experience. You have to, because I think it's just so important to see the way like other people live their lives. Along this trip, like I said, I had a lot of epiphanies. I realized a lot of things. I think something really important that I realized is that I have so much time. Like I think for part of my trip, I felt like I had to rush everything. I felt like I had to see every single city while I was there. I had to go to every single place, see this, see that, go here, go there. I couldn't miss a thing. After a while, I realized that's not how I should do any kind of trip. That's just, it's stressful. That's gonna cause anxiety for sure. That's just not a way to do any trip. I think what I had to realize is that I have so much time. Like, I literally have so much time. I can go back. I'm gonna go back next summer, and the summer after that, and the summer after that. And I'm going to eventually see every single place I want to see, because these places are always gonna be there. And I think for a long time, and I think this is a mindset that is kind of just engraved in society, and it is just, you know, pushed around, is that, you know, life is short, you know, you gotta get things done while you can, but that's not really true. Like, if you live by that, you're just gonna rush every single thing you do, and then I don't think you're gonna really end up enjoying anything. I mean, that makes sense to me. I feel like you should live like you have all the time in the world. That's how I really feel like you should live. And I know you never hear that. You always hear life is short, you know, But really, I truly think you should live as if you have all the time in the world, because I think you will just enjoy every single thing you do, and you will be intentional about every single thing you do. And I think that is so important. So I think that's something that I really needed to learn, and it's something I'm kind of getting used to, because that's a mindset I've never had. Because I think before this trip, for a while, I was kind of feeling like, oh, I'm so behind everyone, like everyone is accomplishing all these things, and, you know, I'm so behind, and and you know, at times I still feel like that. But I think this new mindset kind of makes me realize, like, okay, wait, I have so much time to get done what I want to get done. It's not a race at all. That really helped me enjoy the trip 10 times more. No, I didn't see every single thing, but I saw a lot of places, and I got to enjoy every single place I saw, and I didn't feel rushed, and I didn't feel like, okay, we're gonna do this today, and we're gonna do this tomorrow, and I felt relaxed. Another thing that I really realized is that I can literally do anything I want. Like, I know that sounds, I don't know, whatever. Fuck it, I don't care. I can literally do anything I want. I told myself that I was gonna do this trip. It was something I wanted to do. So what did I do? I worked for a few months, I saved money, I booked the ticket, and I did it. And that was proof to me that I can literally do anything I want. You can literally do anything you set your mind to. I don't care how cliche that is so true, because that's literally what I did. That's been something that's been a fucking game changer. Realizing that I can actually just do whatever I want. And I don't need anyone's permission. I don't need anyone's, you know, approval. If I want to do something, I can absolutely do it. I never thought that way before. So I've been doing a lot of things that I kind of stopped doing because I thought, oh, you know, I want it, but, you know, that's not really sustainable or whatever. I've gotten back into doing a lot of, for example, singing. Oh, I used to love to sing, and I stopped for a lot of reasons. And I think one big reason being just because, you know, I've heard, it's just so many people have told me, oh, well, that's so hard. Everyone wants to be a singer, There are some amazing singers who no one knows about, and blah, blah, blah. But that's something I want to do. And it feels right, and I know I'm gonna do it. And so because I have come to the realization that I can literally do whatever I want, and that if I want something to happen, I can definitely make it happen, I started singing again, because I know that's something that's gonna happen for me. You're watching a pop star in the making, hello? I also came to some conclusions about relationships. I was talking to someone pretty seriously before I left for this trip, and being on this trip, I realized that I'm just not ready to be in a relationship. In some ways, that makes me sad, because I really did like this person, and I don't think I would have been doing myself any justice or them any justice by forcing myself to be in a relationship with them. Because I think what I would have been doing at the end of the day is forcing myself. And if you have to force yourself to do anything, it's probably not the right thing for you. So I did do a lot of reflecting on that, and I still am, because in a lot of ways I think I am ready for a relationship, but in so many ways I don't think I am. And I think the ways that I'm not do outweigh the ways that I am. I'm still kind of iffy on that, because I still kind of think like, oh, am I self-sabotaging? Like, am I just scared and whatever? But I don't know. I think if I have to overthink it that much, I'm not ready. It was really nice to just have that space and that time to really think about that. So, and that's another thing. I think it's important to do a trip like this, because you get a lot of time to think. Again, as uncomfortable as that can be, in the end, when you come to conclusions, it's actually a really beautiful thing. So yeah, I got a lot of time to think. obviously. I think another thing that I've realized more recently, I think more since I've got back, and I just made a TikTok about it actually, is that I always had this idea, and I think again, this is something that society pushes, and is that you have to pick one thing that you like to do and you have to stick to it and you have to make a career out of it, and then that's it. I've always been someone, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I've never really found one single thing that makes me happy that I want to do forever. I could think of 10 things right now that I would love to do forever, that but I can't sit and do one thing. I write poetry and I wrote a book and I'm so happy and it's beautiful and I love poetry, but I think in the last, I want to say like 6 months, I haven't felt like I've wanted to write a lot of poetry, and I haven't felt as connected to writing poetry as I have in the past, and I think that's okay, but I think that's been hard for me because I've kind of been, because I wrote my book and because I created a TikTok account with, you know, a good amount of followers that about my poetry, and because I've kind of built this platform on my poetry, I kind of always thought, okay, or I started to think that my identity is now a poet. I am Noelle the poet, nothing else. But that's not really what I want. I just want to be Noelle, and I want to be a ton of different things. And I don't want to just be defined by my poetry, you know? I want to be a singer, I want to be a songwriter, I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be a model, I want to do maybe photography at some point. I want to do a lot of things, and I want to be a poet, but I don't want my identity to be singled down to one thing. That's been hard for me to wrap my head around, and it's been annoying because I feel like I've created this whole platform on poetry, and now it's not even something I really want to do at the moment. I just am kind of figuring out how to proceed. Since being back, I've been eating a lot healthier. I've been going to the gym every day. I've only been back for like 6 days, but hey, fucking progress is progress, okay? Yeah, because on this trip, I also came to the realization that I do want to and need to eat a lot better. I want to work out every day, and I want to drink a lot more water. Simple things like that, but I did realize that those are things I want to do. So I've been doing it and it's been wonderful. Oh, my relationship with money. Oh shit. How can we forget that? With this trip, my relationship with money has gotten a lot better for sure. I think for a lot of my life, literally since I started making money, since I got my first job, I've always held back on buying things for kind of no reason, just because I've always had the mindset of like, you're gonna go broke, because that's kind of what I've been taught, is that like, you know, if you buy things you don't actually need, you're gonna go broke and da-da. So when I would want things, I wouldn't buy them. And on this trip, I did the opposite. When I wanted something, I bought it. Almost every single time. I was absolutely fine. And I came back and I am absolutely fine. I am okay. I am not destroyed. I am not broke. I am not dying for money. I'm okay. And I think that changed a lot. You know, I think I'm still definitely working on my relationship with money. But when I got back, I went immediately out and I bought things that I have been wanting to buy. I've just been holding back on simply because of money. When I've had the money to buy it, I didn't want to spend the money. For example, I've needed a diffuser for my hair for so long, and I've been wanting one, and it's like $40, and I didn't want to buy it. I just didn't want to buy it. I was like, do I really need it? Da da da. I didn't want to buy it. And then I started using a diffuser, one of my friend's diffuser, and I was like, wow, my curls look so much better, and I love the way my hair looks so much more when I use a diffuser, and I love that I can dry my hair faster, and why don't I just buy a fucking diffuser? So as soon as I got back, I bought a diffuser. I bought things that are gonna make me happier every day, and that's worth it. And now I'm gonna have a diffuser for the next few years, most likely. These aren't things that I'm gonna need to keep rebuying. My relationship with money is getting better. I'm here, and I'm back, and I'm doing my thing, and I feel good about it, and I also feel kind of confused, and I kind of don't really know where I'm going, but I kind of do, and I'm kind of just trying to figure it out, and I'm trying to do all these things. This is my time for YouTube. This is my time to be a YouTuber. Y'all aren't fucking ready. You're not fucking ready. You're just not ready. But it's here and it's time. So get ready, buckle up. This was amazing. I really want to watch this video that I just made. I feel like I gave a lot of fucking good advice. Good job, Noelle. This felt like a podcast. So I will let you guys get back to whatever you were doing before you watched this video. I love you so much. Have a wonderful day. Book that flight. Do what you gotta do. Have a great day at work. Quit your job if it's not making you happy. Stay pretty. Stay happy. Stay you.